Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is democracy in Nigeria, and we have to talk about the democracy and some of the problems that democracy confronts in Nigeria. Dr. LMadu. Dr. LMadu is an international lawyer, and he's the founder of an organization called Pan-African, and of course the editor of the Pan-African Journal. And of course, Dr. LMadu, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, and to tell you, Dr. LMadu, how delighted we are to have you, because you've given us so many excellent shows dealing with the continent of Africa and the relationship that that has with things going on indeed in this particular country. Let's start off, Dr. LMadu, by talking about the topic this morning, talking about democracy in Nigeria. And if you will, why don't you give us some information in reference to how democracy came to Nigeria and the evolution of democracy at this particular point in Nigeria?
Well, of course, democracy is not something new to Nigeria. When Nigeria became independent, you know, it established a democratic system of government based on the British parliamentary system, you know, with a ceremonial president and an executive prime minister and the legislature. Following the 1966 military, coup that overthrew the civilian government, Nigeria became a country that was governed, by a ruthless and rapacious military clique for over 30 years. They succeeded in handing over power in 1979, came back in '83 and took over again. Since then, the army remained in power till 1999, when the president political dispensation started. It's not been easy, and it's not easy, for a country that has been under the yoke and oppressive nature of military governments everywhere, to find itself suddenly, transformed into a society where people can speak freely and engage in political activities. So it's been rough since 1999, to say the least. It's not been an easy experiment after so many years, of being under the thumb of a
military dictatorship.
Exactly, clique of military officers who accomplished nothing but loot the treasury. So President Obasanjo, who himself was a military leader, transformed into a civilian president, is also finding it difficult, to transform himself from somebody who gives orders to somebody who has to build a consensus, to govern. But credit should be given to him, for at least trying to steer the country towards a more, peaceful, democratic existence.
Now, some of the current problems, when we talk about democracy in Nigeria, some of the current problems really go back to the president himself. Would that not be a correct statement? In terms, I think his tenure as president is constitutionally up soon, and there's some belief that perhaps he might not be willing, perhaps because of his military nature or whatever, he might not be willing to perhaps give up, in a constitutional sense, the government. I mean, is that a correct assessment?
Yes, correct in a sense. The Constitution, of the country states that the government and the governors, have to have a maximum of 8 years, 2 terms, 4 years each. Mr. Obasanjo's term ends next year, 2007, made to be specific. He hasn't said he's going to run, and he hasn't said he's not going to run. But like everywhere else, you have a lot of political opportunists and sycophants who've been running around the country trying to amend the Constitution to give the president 4 more years, and some of the governors, to extend their terms to 4 more additional years. But to give President Obasanjo, credit, he hasn't said he's running. And so since he hasn't said he's running, we assume he's going to step down, next year, as the Constitution mandates. So let's wait and see, and see what happens in the next few months you know, before we make a determination on whether he wants a third term or not. But all indications are, you know, that he will not run, you know, but you never know.
Well, and of course, we've got about 20 seconds before we end this segment for today. But when we come back, Dr. LMadu, let's see if we can have you to talk about some of the possibilities if he decides to run and be elected again. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. We're talking to Dr. Leonard